Galactic Empire confronts human ships. Humans respond with laughter. The human fleet moved slowly through the empty space near the edge of the Andarian sector. Small, sleek ships drifted in quiet formation, their engines glowing dimly against the black. Captain Luke Carter sat in the bridge of the lead ship, the horizon of distant stars reflected in his eyes. He had seen this region many times, but today something felt different. There was a sense of tension in the air, almost as if the universe itself was holding its breath. Luke leaned back in his chair and glanced at his crew. Amy Brooks, his communications officer, tapped quietly at her console. Her dark hair fell in front of her eyes and she seemed calm, but Luke knew her mind was alert, scanning for any sign of danger. Beside her, Ben Turner, the young tactical officer, checked the energy readings of their fleet. The small human ships were old by galactic standards, but they carried secrets that no alien fleet had yet understood. A sudden alert flashed across the main screen. Luke straightened. "Status?" he asked. Ben's fingers flew over his controls. "Sensors have detected an incoming fleet, sir. Very large. The readings show hundreds of ships. Imperial design, no doubt." Amy frowned. "Imperials here, at the edge of the sector. They should not be this far out." "Something is wrong," Luke nodded. "Prepare the fleet, but stay calm. Let's see what they want before we act." As the human ships held their formation, the Imperial fleet emerged from a distant nebula. They were massive, dark ships with sharp edges and shining armor. The Imperial flag was visible on the lead ship, a symbol that had caused fear across countless systems for centuries. But on Luke's bridge, there was no fear, only quiet determination and an unexpected sense of amusement. The Imperial Admiral, a tall man named Callan, observed the human ships through his command window. His expression was hard and unreadable. "Report," he said to his first officer, Commander Eva Ross. "They are human, Admiral. Small fleet, old technology. Their energy readings are minimal. It is likely they are a weak species," Eva replied. Callan's lips pressed into a thin line. "Weak or not, they are in Imperial space. Send a message. Demand immediate surrender. If they refuse, destroy them." Back on the human side, the bridge of Luke's ship vibrated slightly as their comm system received a transmission. Amy tapped her console and brought it up on the main screen. The hologram of Admiral Callan appeared, his posture rigid, voice cold. "This is Admiral Callan of the Galactic Empire. You are in Imperial territory. Surrender immediately or face destruction." The crew of the human ship froze for a brief moment. Then Luke laughed. It was not a nervous laugh, not a small chuckle, but a deep, unexpected laughter that filled the bridge. Amy raised an eyebrow and even Ben turned to look at him in surprise. "Laughter?" Amy asked quietly. Luke shook his head. "Yes, do you hear him? He thinks we will fear him. He thinks we will tremble, and we don't. We are humans, we have faced worse." He activated the reply. "We hear you, Admiral Callan. We are laughing because this is not new to us. You are strong, yes, but your threat is weak. We do not surrender." There was silence from the Imperial side. Callan blinked at the screen. "They are laughing at us," he said, his voice tight. "What does that mean?" Eva's eyes narrowed. "I do not know, Admiral. Humans are unpredictable. They may have some hidden technology, but it is strange for a species to respond with laughter in the face of a threat." The human ships maintained their calm formation. The blackness of space reflected the dim lights of their engines, but there was a sense of hidden power. Luke looked at his crew. "Keep scanning, prepare defenses, but do not act unless I say so. Let them make the first move." Amy tapped her console quickly. "Sensors show weapons charging on their lead ships. They are serious. They intend to attack if we do not comply." Luke smiled faintly. "Then they will see what humans do when threatened. Ready the shields, but do not fire. We will make them think twice." As the Imperial fleet moved closer, small tremors ran through the human ship's energy fields. The Empire expected fear, expected chaos, but found only order and quiet laughter. The crew of the lead ship moved efficiently, checking and rechecking systems, monitoring energy flows and coordinating with their small fleet. Ben leaned over his console. "Captain, the readings are unusual. Their weapons are stronger than expected, but our shields are holding steady. They are using more power than they should." Luke nodded. "Good. Let them overextend. That is their weakness. They think might alone wins battles. They forget that humans are clever, adaptable, and patient." From the Imperial side, Callan ordered a warning shot. A massive energy beam flared from the lead ship and streaked toward the human formation. The beam hit the front of one of the small human ships and vanished as if it had met a wall. The crew on Luke's bridge barely flinched. The shields absorbed the energy with perfect precision. Amy's eyes widened. "They did not even touch us. The shield absorbed everything." Luke's grin grew wider. "That is why we laugh. They expect panic, but all they find is control. They will learn, but it will take time." The Imperial ships paused. Callan's face was pale under the lights of the command window. "Report. Why are their shields so strong?" "Their ships are supposed to be primitive." Eva shook her head. "I do not understand it, Admiral. Their technology is old, yet their defenses are beyond anything we predicted. It is intelligent, strategic. They are not ordinary humans. This is not possible." On the human side, Luke watched carefully. He did not underestimate the Empire. They had defeated countless civilizations, and many species feared them for good reason. But humans were not like other species. Humans survived when all odds were against them. Humans thrived when everything seemed lost. That was why the Empire could not scare them with a simple message or a threat. Luke tapped the comm system again. "Admiral Callan, you have sent a warning. You have shown your strength, but we are not afraid. We are not weak. We will not surrender. Your fleet is large, yes, but it is predictable. And humans are unpredictable. We laugh because we know the truth. Strength alone does not win battles. Strategy and courage do." The Imperial fleet fell silent at this reply. Callan's knuckles tightened around the edge of his command chair. "They mock us," he said through gritted teeth. "They mock the Galactic Empire." Eva's voice was cautious. "Admiral, perhaps it is better to assess further before ordering an attack. Their reaction is unusual. They may have hidden weapons or unknown technology." Callan shook his head. "No, they are defiant. That is unacceptable. Prepare the main cannons. Fire on my mark." Back on the human side, Luke's eyes remained calm. "Everyone stay ready. Let them fire first. Do not respond. Watch and learn. Their pride will be their mistake." The Imperial fleet's engines glowed brighter, signaling the start of a full assault. The hum of energy beams filled the void as they aimed at the human ships. Luke's fleet did not move. They did not panic. The human crew worked together silently, adjusting shields, calculating energy reserves, and communicating without a single word spoken aloud. Amy tapped her console nervously. "Captain, they are charging every weapon they have. If they hit, we could lose ships." Luke leaned back, smiling faintly. "Then let them learn the cost of underestimating humans. Fear will not guide us. Laughter will." The Imperial fleet fired, unleashing a wave of energy beams toward the human formation. The beams struck the lead human ship, but instead of exploding, the energy dispersed across the shield network. Each ship in the human fleet absorbed part of the energy and converted it into power for their own systems. Ben's eyes were wide. "Captain, they are using our energy against us. It's like the beams never existed, they just vanished." Luke nodded. "Exactly. We laugh because we are safe, not because we are weak, not because we are foolish, because we are humans, and humans survive. Humans win." The Empire's weapons continued to fire, but each strike was neutralized. The Imperial crews began to murmur in confusion and fear. The fleet that had never faced defeat in centuries was stunned by a small human fleet that did not even try to fight yet. Luke looked at his crew. Amy, Ben, and the others were tense but confident. This was what humans did. They faced impossible odds and made the impossible happen. The Empire expected fear. Humans gave them laughter. And that laughter would echo across the galaxy. The Imperial fleet drifted in space, their massive ships glowing with power, yet now the glow seemed less threatening. Admiral Callan's hands were tight on the controls, his jaw stiff. He had expected resistance, but not laughter. Not calmness, not the complete lack of fear. Eva Ross, his first officer, moved beside him, scanning the human fleet's energy patterns. Admiral, they are not firing, they are not attacking, and yet their shields remain stable. Each time we strike, our energy is absorbed, redistributed. It is intelligent. Callan frowned. Intelligent? That is impossible. They are humans, a minor species. They cannot outthink the Empire. Eva shook her head. We underestimated them. Their fleet is small and outdated, yes, but the systems are adaptive. Every weapon we fire is immediately countered or neutralized. It is as if they are learning from us, adjusting faster than we expect. Callan's lips pressed thin. Prepare the recon drones. I want detailed scans of every ship. I want to know how they can resist us. On the human side, Luke Carter watched the Imperial fleet with calm eyes. The laughter had faded, replaced with a quiet focus. He tapped commands into the console, and the fleet's sensors hummed as they scanned the approaching ships. Amy Brooks glanced at him. Captain, sensors show unusual energy patterns in their weapons. It is almost like their systems are straining to adjust to ours. Luke nodded. They are used to striking fear first, not strategy. Their pride will make them careless. Let them make mistakes. Let them reveal themselves. Ben Turner leaned forward. Captain, their weapons are charging again, but unevenly. Some ships have overextended their energy. That could cause a system failure. Good, Luke said quietly. We don't need to attack yet. We only need patience. Humans survive through patience. The Empire will learn this soon enough. Callan's voice rang over the comm system again, sharp and demanding. Humans, you are defying the Galactic Empire. Surrender now, or all of you will be destroyed. Luke smiled faintly, leaning back. We will not surrender. We are humans. We do not bow to threats. You may fire, you may attack, you may believe that power alone wins battles. But humans know better. Humans survive, humans adapt, and humans will laugh at your mistakes. There was silence on the Imperial side. Callan's eyes narrowed. What does he mean, adapt? Laugh, Eva Ross' brow furrowed. Sir, they are not like other species. They are reacting emotionally but also strategically. Their response is part of a plan. I suggest caution. Callan shook his head. Caution? We are the Empire. We do not fear caution. Attack again. Show them the cost of defiance. The Imperial fleet powered up. Beams of energy shot from multiple ships at once, lighting up the darkness of space with long streaks of glowing fire. The human fleet, small and seemingly fragile, moved as if guided by instinct. Their shields flared, absorbing the impact and redirecting it into energy storage. Not a single ship was damaged. Amy looked at the readings in shock. Captain, they are storing our energy. Each shot we take is being converted into power for their systems. Luke nodded calmly. That is why they cannot scare us. They think raw force is enough. We will show them it is not. Ben tapped his console rapidly. Captain, we can redistribute some of that energy to our engines. If we need to move, we can strike faster than their sensors can track. Luke smiled. Do it. Let them see that humans are not predictable. Let them see that we can use their own power against them. On the Imperial bridge, Callan watched the humans' movements with growing anger. How are they still intact? How are they laughing at us? They should fear death. They should beg for mercy. Eva Ross studied the data, her brow tight. They are not afraid, Admiral, and they are not begging. They are calm, coordinated, and clearly confident in their abilities. Their fleet is small, but their control is precise. If we continue this, we risk losing ships without understanding their full power. Callan slammed his fist on the console. "We are the Empire. No human can defy us and live. Fire everything." The Imperial fleet unleashed its full attack, energy beams cutting through space like rivers of light. The human ships moved smoothly, shields absorbing and dispersing the energy. Luke's fleet did not panic, did not fire back. Instead, they watched, calculated, and waited. Amy tapped her console. "Captain, sensors show that some Imperial ships have overcharged. Their energy flows are unstable. If they continue this, their own weapons could backfire." Luke's eyes sparkled with calm intensity. "Exactly. That is why humans wait. We survive because we understand patience. Strength alone is not enough." Ben adjusted a few controls. "We can exploit the energy overflow, redirect it to disable their systems temporarily without destroying the ships. That will show them humans are clever, not cruel." Luke nodded. "Do it. Let them learn the lesson of underestimating humans." On the Imperial side, alarms began to ring. Small systems failed in several ships. Energy surges caused malfunctions in weapons and shields. Callan's face turned pale. "Report," he demanded. Eva Ross' voice was cautious but firm. "Admiral, their systems are interfering with ours. They are not attacking, yet we are losing control. Their fleet is small, yet they have disrupted our power distribution. It is unprecedented." Callan's hands shook slightly. "Unprecedented or not, they will pay for defiance. Fire manually. Do not rely on automatic targeting." The Imperial gunners aimed again, but the human fleet adjusted in perfect synchronization. Energy beams hit shields and were absorbed. Some were redirected, causing small disruptions in the Imperial formation. For every strike the Empire made, the humans had an answer. Amy looked at Luke. "Captain, we are doing more than surviving. We are teaching them a lesson without even firing a shot ourselves." Luke smiled faintly. "Humans survive and teach lessons in subtle ways. That is why we laugh. That is why we are dangerous even when small." Across space, the Imperial fleet faltered. Ships moved unpredictably as energy systems strained. Officers shouted orders that could not be executed in time. Admiral Callan felt fear for the first time in decades. The humans were small, but their presence was overwhelming in a way he could not understand. Eva Ross whispered, almost to herself, "Admiral, they are not afraid. They are not even fighting yet, and still they dominate the engagement. How is this possible?" Callan's lips pressed into a hard line. "They are humans, that is all I know, and humans must be punished." Luke watched the chaos from afar. The humans did not rejoice in destruction, did not aim to kill. They only survived, adapted, and proved their strength through strategy and patience. Each move, each calculation, each adjustment was human ingenuity in action. Ben looked at the readings and shook his head in amazement. "Captain, we have absorbed more energy than we ever expected. If we strike now, even lightly, we could disable half their fleet without killing anyone." Luke nodded. "Not yet. Let them overextend further. Let them see what happens when pride meets patience." As the Imperial fleet continued to fire, their attacks became erratic. The human fleet moved like a single organism, shields flaring, engines redirecting power, and systems absorbing the blows. For every attempt the Empire made to intimidate, humans responded with control and calm. Amy leaned closer. "Captain, their morale is dropping. Sensors show fear in the Imperial crew. Some officers are questioning the orders. This is incredible." Luke smiled faintly. "That is the human way. Not through anger, not through hatred, but through endurance and confidence. We do not need to destroy to prove strength. We survive, we adapt, and we win." Ben tapped a few keys. "We can disable their energy grid temporarily." "No lives lost, just a demonstration." Luke nodded. "Do it. Let them understand. Humans are not weak. Humans are not afraid, and humans never surrender when facing the impossible." In the Imperial Command Center, alarms blared louder. Ships shuddered as systems failed. Officers scrambled to stabilize energy flows. Admiral Callan's face was pale, his hands gripping the controls as if to hold himself together. Humans, he realized with growing dread, were not like any species he had faced. Eva Ross looked at him quietly. "Admiral, perhaps it is time to reconsider. They are small, yes, but their control, patience, and ingenuity are extraordinary. We cannot destroy them without risking our own fleet." Callan shook his head, but the weight of reality pressed on him. The humans were small, yes, but they had already proven that size and firepower alone could not dominate them. And for the first time, he understood why Admiral Carter's laughter had been so dangerous. It was not disrespect. It was confidence, patience, and knowledge that humans were not to be underestimated. Luke Carter watched silently, ready for whatever came next. The humans did not need to attack yet. They had already proven their point. They had already shown the Empire that humans survive where others fail. That humans laugh at danger because humans understand it and control it. And in that quiet, determined patience, humans prepared for what would come next, ready to teach the Galactic Empire a lesson that would be remembered for generations. The Empire's fleet was faltering. Their massive ships, which had dominated entire systems for centuries, now struggled against a small human fleet that seemed fragile at first glance. Captain Luke Carter watched quietly from the bridge of his lead ship. The humans did not panic, did not shout orders in anger. They only observed, calculated, and waited. Amy Brooks leaned forward, her eyes scanning the readings on her console. "Captain, their energy outputs are becoming unstable. They are overcharging weapons that are already being neutralized. Some of their ships are experiencing internal strain." Luke nodded calmly. "Good, let them make mistakes. Humans survive because we do not rush. We wait, we adapt, and we strike when the time is right." Ben Turner tapped his controls. "Captain, sensors show that several Imperial ships have shields failing intermittently. If we act carefully, we can disable some of their systems without even firing a shot." Luke smiled faintly. "Exactly. Humans do not need to destroy to win. We need only to show that we are not weak, that we are clever, that we survive." Across space, Admiral Callan's face was tight with tension. The Imperial fleet had never faced a species that could withstand their firepower with such calm. Every shot they fired was absorbed or neutralized. Every attempt to intimidate only increased confusion. Fear had entered the Empire's ranks for the first time. Eva Ross stood beside him. "Admiral, their fleet is small, but their control is perfect. It is almost as if they move as one, responding instantly to every attack. They have studied us, and they are adapting faster than we can predict." Callan's hands gripped the command console. "Impossible. Humans are primitive. Their ships are outdated. They should have no answer to our strength." "They are humans," Eva said softly. "They survive in ways we do not understand. Their ingenuity is dangerous." On the human side, Luke tapped a sequence into the ship's controls. The fleet's shields shimmered with energy collected from the Empire's attacks. Each ship redistributed power to engines, maneuvering systems, and tactical controls. Humans did not just absorb force, they used it to enhance themselves. Amy glanced at the readings. "Captain, we can redirect this energy to our engines. If we move now, we could position ourselves for a counter without taking any risk." Luke nodded. "Do it, but move slowly. Let them think they are in control. Let them make their next mistake." Ben's fingers moved quickly over his console. Sensors show that the Imperial ships are becoming chaotic. Their formation is breaking. Officers are issuing conflicting orders. They cannot adapt fast enough. Luke leaned back in his chair. "Patience. Humans wait until the right moment. Then we act with precision." Across space, the Imperial fleet fired again. Beams of energy flared in long, deadly streaks, cutting across the darkness. The human fleet shifted slightly, shields flaring, absorbing, and distributing the attacks. Energy rippled through the ships, and some of the smaller Imperial vessels suddenly lost power in sections, their weapons going offline. Amy's eyes widened. "Captain, we are causing their systems to fail without firing a shot. They don't understand it yet." Luke's expression was calm. "They will, and when they do, they will learn that humans are not weak, humans are not afraid, and humans survive when others fail." Ben adjusted a few controls. "Captain, if we time it right, we can disable their energy grids temporarily. It won't destroy their ships, but it will force them to retreat." Luke nodded. "Do it. We do not need to kill them. We need to teach them a lesson they will not forget." In the Empire's fleet, alarms began to ring louder. Systems failed in multiple ships. Officers shouted orders that could not be executed. Admiral Callan's face grew pale under the bridge lights. The humans were not attacking in the traditional sense, yet the Empire's fleet faltered under their presence. Eva Ross whispered almost to herself, "They are not attacking, and yet they dominate the engagement. How is this possible?" Callan's hands shook slightly. "They are humans, and humans must be punished." Luke watched silently, waiting for the perfect moment. Humans did not rush, humans did not panic, and humans never acted without purpose. The Empire's pride was its weakness, and humans were patient enough to exploit it. Ben leaned closer to his console. "Captain, the Imperial flagship is overloading. If we act now, we can force a temporary retreat without harming them." Luke nodded. "Now is the moment. Execute the sequence." The human fleet moved with precision. Energy collected from the Empire's attacks was redirected into focused pulses. The pulses struck the Imperial flagship's energy core. Systems flickered, weapons went offline, and shields weakened. The massive ship shuddered, forcing Admiral Callan to issue retreat commands. Amy's eyes shone. "Captain, it worked. They are retreating." Luke nodded. "Humans do not destroy unnecessarily. We survive, we adapt, and we teach lessons. That is enough for now." The Imperial fleet pulled back, confusion and fear on every bridge. Admiral Callan's face was pale, his pride shaken. He had never encountered a species that could laugh at him while neutralizing his power. Eva Ross looked at him quietly. "Admiral, we underestimated them. We believed size and strength would dominate. Humans do not follow those rules." Callan's jaw tightened. "We will recover. We are the Empire. No human defiance will go unpunished forever. But today, we learn that humans are not weak." Luke watched the Imperial ships fade into the distance. The human fleet was unharmed, not a single life lost. They had survived where others would have panicked. They had shown the Empire that humans were clever, resilient, and patient. Ben smiled. "Captain, we could have destroyed half their fleet if we wanted, but we didn't." Luke shook his head. "No, humans win without unnecessary destruction. Humans survive. Humans teach without cruelty. That is what makes us dangerous. That is why we laugh at threats." Amy looked at the stars, her face calm but determined. "Captain, the Empire will come back stronger. They will not forget this day." Luke nodded. "Let them come. Humans are ready. Humans will adapt. Humans will survive. And when they learn, they will remember that we do not fear, we do not flee, and we do not surrender." The fleet moved quietly through space, calm and precise. Their laughter had faded, replaced with determination. Humans had proven themselves once again, not by brute force but by patience, intelligence, and unity. They had survived against an empire that believed in strength alone. Luke Carter sat in his chair, watching the stars. He knew this was only the beginning. The Empire had seen humans for the first time, and it would not be the last. Humans were small, yes, but humans were unpredictable. Humans were resilient. Humans survived. And when the Empire returned, they would face the full measure of human determination. For now, the stars were quiet. The human fleet held its formation, ready, patient, and alive. They had survived the impossible. They had laughed at the threat. They had shown the galaxy the truth about humans. And the Empire had learned in the hardest way that humans were not to be underestimated. The Imperial fleet was quiet now, drifting back toward the outer edge of the sector. Admiral Callan's massive flagship shuddered as systems struggled to recover from the human fleet's clever maneuvers. Every officer aboard was tense. The humans had not fired a single destructive shot, yet the Empire had suffered damage. Pride, power, and experience had failed against the small, calm human ships. On the lead human ship, Captain Luke Carter stood near the window of the bridge, watching the Empire's retreating vessels. His crew moved efficiently, adjusting shields, checking energy levels, and sharing updates without raising their voices. Amy Brooks tapped her console, eyes scanning the retreating fleet. "Captain," she said, "they are regrouping. Sensors show they are confused. Their formation is broken. They do not know how to respond. They expected panic and fear, but they got calm." Luke nodded slowly. "That is the human way. We survive because we remain calm when others panic. We do not rush. We do not waste energy on anger. We adapt. We learn. And when it is time, we act with precision." Ben Turner, who had been monitoring energy flows, spoke up. "Captain, our shields are still strong. Energy collected from their attacks is more than enough for a counter if we need it. We could disable most of their fleet if we wanted to." Luke shook his head. "No, Ben. Humans win without cruelty when possible. We show strength without destroying unnecessarily. We survive. That is enough. Let them learn before they strike again." Amy looked at him. "Captain, do you think they understand that we are not afraid?" Luke smiled faintly. "Not yet. Humans are patient. They learn slowly from experience. They will understand soon enough when they see that size and weapons are not the only measures of power." Across space, Admiral Callan struggled to regain control. His crew moved in a frenzy, shouting orders and trying to stabilize systems. Eva Ross came to his side. "Admiral," she said softly, "we underestimated them. They are small, yes, but their fleet is precise, coordinated, and intelligent. They neutralized our attacks without even firing weapons. Their patience is dangerous. It is unlike any species we have encountered." Callan shook his head. "Impossible. They are humans. Weak, primitive, they should fear us as all species do." "They do not," Eva said, "and that is what makes them dangerous. They do not respond like we expect. They do not panic, they adapt. We cannot predict them easily. That is not weakness, that is strength." Luke tapped commands into his console. The human fleet moved silently, shifting into a new formation. They were no longer just defending. They were positioning themselves to send a message, a clear signal to the Empire. Humans were not weak, humans were clever, and humans survived against impossible odds. Ben turned to Luke. "Captain, we can disable their main energy grid temporarily. It will not destroy their ships, but it will force them to retreat further. It will prove that humans can control the battle without firing destructive weapons." Luke nodded. "Do it. Humans win by controlling the situation, not by destroying everything. That is how we survive. That is how we show strength." The human fleet focused the stored energy from the Empire's attacks into precise bursts. Imperial ships shuddered as systems failed temporarily. Shields flickered, engines stuttered, and weapons went offline. The Empire was forced to slow down and regroup. On the Imperial flagship, alarms rang loudly. Officers shouted over one another. Admiral Callan's face was pale. "Report," he demanded. Eva Ross' voice was cautious but clear. "Admiral, their fleet has done something unexpected. They have used our own energy against us without attacking directly. Systems are failing. Ships are offline. Their movements are calm, deliberate. This is not destruction. It is controlled dominance." Callan's hand tightened around the console. "They are humans. And humans must be punished. Prepare the fleet. We strike back immediately." But even as he ordered the attack, the Empire's fleet hesitated. Ships that should have fired automatically were offline. Energy reserves were unbalanced. Systems that had never failed now stuttered. The humans had turned the Empire's power against itself, and fear had entered the Imperial fleet. Luke watched calmly. Humans were not only surviving, they were teaching. Each move, each calculation, each quiet adjustment was a lesson to the Empire. Humans did not need to destroy to show strength. They controlled the battle, not with firepower alone, but with intelligence, patience, and strategy. Amy glanced at the readings. "Captain, sensors show several Imperial ships are preparing to retreat completely. Their morale is low, they do not know how to fight us." Luke nodded. "That is enough for now. Humans survive. Humans win without cruelty when possible. Let them learn. Let them understand that humans are clever, adaptable, and patient." Ben's face lit with excitement. "Captain, if we wanted, we could take out half their fleet without firing a shot. Their systems are unstable. They cannot sustain another attack." Luke shook his head. "No, humans win by survival first. We do not destroy when it is not necessary. That is what makes us dangerous. That is why we laugh, and that is why the Empire will remember today." Across the Empire's fleet, Admiral Callan finally ordered a retreat. The human fleet had proven that size, weapons, and pride were not enough to dominate humans. The Empire had faced its first true lesson in underestimating humanity. Eva Ross looked at him. "Admiral, they did not attack us directly, yet they forced us to retreat. They are small, yet their control is precise. This is not weakness. This is strategy. And it is unlike anything we have faced before." Callan's jaw tightened. "We will return. We are the Empire. No human defiance will go unpunished. But today we have learned something new. Humans are not to be underestimated." On the human side, Luke turned to his crew. "We have shown them patience and control. We have survived. That is enough for now. Humans win not by destruction, but by strategy, endurance, and unity. Remember that." Amy smiled faintly. "Captain, they will come back stronger, but we are ready." Luke nodded. "We are always ready. Humans do not fear. Humans do not flee. Humans survive. And humans laugh at danger because we understand it, control it, and adapt to it." The human fleet moved through the dark stars, calm, precise, and ready. They had survived the Empire's attack, not through brute force but through intelligence, patience, and determination. They had shown the Empire that humans were clever, resilient, and unpredictable. Ben turned to Luke. "Captain, the Empire will never see humans the same way again. Today we have shown them our true strength." Luke smiled faintly. "Yes, Ben, but this is only the beginning. Humans are not weak. Humans survive. And humans will continue to teach the galaxy that strength alone is not enough to dominate us." Amy glanced at the stars. "Captain, what now?" Luke's eyes were calm and determined. "Now we prepare. We remain ready. And when the Empire returns, they will face the full measure of human ingenuity. For now we have survived. We have won. And that is enough." The fleet moved silently, powerful without noise, calm without fear, and ready for whatever came next. Humans had shown the Empire that they could not be intimidated. Humans had proven that patience, strategy, and endurance were stronger than pride, size, and weapons alone. And somewhere in the distance, Admiral Callan's fleet retreated, confused and shaken. The Empire had underestimated humans for centuries, and today they had learned their first hard lesson. Luke Carter leaned back in his chair, watching the stars. He knew the Empire would return. They always did. But he also knew that humans were ready. Humans were clever, adaptable, and united. Humans survived. And humans laughed at danger because they understood it and controlled it. The galaxy would remember this day. The Empire had met humans and had found that laughter could be more powerful than fear. And the humans moved forward, calm, prepared, and alive, ready to meet whatever came next. The Imperial fleet moved slowly through space, the glow of their engines dim and uneven. Admiral Callan's massive flagship led the retreat, its systems still struggling after the encounter with the human fleet. The pride of the Empire had been wounded, and the officers aboard were tense, silent, and uncertain. They had never faced a species like humans before, and the memory of their calm, clever resistance burned in every mind. On the human side, Captain Luke Carter watched the retreating Imperial fleet. His crew worked quietly, checking systems, redistributing energy, and ensuring every ship was at full strength. Amy Brooks tapped her console, her eyes scanning the sensors. "Captain, they are retreating fast. Sensors show low morale. They don't understand what happened." They expected fear and chaos, but they found calm and control. Luke nodded slowly. "Humans survive because we remain steady when others panic. Humans win because we think, we adapt, and we act with purpose. Today, we have shown them what that means." Ben Turner leaned over his console. "Captain, our energy reserves are full. Our shields are strong. If they decide to return immediately, we could prepare a stronger response. But we don't need to provoke them. We already won this encounter." Luke smiled faintly. "Exactly. Humans win without unnecessary destruction. We survive first, and when needed, we strike. That is what makes humans dangerous, unpredictable, and respected. The Empire will remember today." Across space, the Empire's officers whispered among themselves. Eva Ross looked at Admiral Callan. "Admiral, the humans did not even attack in full. They only defended and used strategy to show control. And yet our fleet is shaken. We lost formation, systems are unstable, and morale is low. This is the first time in centuries that the Empire has been truly tested." Callan's hands gripped the edge of his command console. "They are humans, small, weak, and yet they have made us rethink everything. They are clever, adaptable, and patient. They do not fight like others. They wait, they survive, and they turn our strength against us." Eva nodded. "Yes, Admiral, they are not like other species we have faced, and that is why they are dangerous." Luke turned back to his crew. "Prepare for travel back to our home sector. We need repairs and rest, but stay alert. Humans are always ready. The Empire may return stronger and angrier, and when they do, we must be ready to show them again that humans survive and humans win." Amy smiled faintly. "Captain, we have already proven ourselves today. The Empire will talk about this battle for years. Our fleet is small, but our actions will be remembered." Luke nodded. "That is the human way. Humans survive and teach lessons without unnecessary destruction. Our reputation is more powerful than any weapon. That is why we laughed at their threats, and that is why they will never underestimate us again." Ben leaned back in his chair. "Captain, do you think other species saw this? The ones allied with the Empire. They must have witnessed our fleet's actions." Luke's eyes sparkled with calm determination. "Yes, Ben, and they will remember. Humans are clever, patient, and adaptable. We do not need to dominate with violence alone. We show strength by surviving, by controlling the situation, and by teaching lessons quietly. That is more powerful than any fleet." The fleet began its quiet journey back, engines glowing softly in the darkness. Luke moved through the bridge, checking on his crew. Amy and Ben worked efficiently, but there was a sense of quiet pride among them. They had survived the impossible, faced an empire, and shown what humans could do. Across the galaxy, word of the encounter spread. Other species who had long feared the Empire began to reconsider their alliances. If humans could face the Imperial fleet with only a small number of ships and still survive, then perhaps the Empire was not invincible. Luke Carter thought about this as the stars moved past their viewports. The galaxy was wide, dangerous, and full of unknowns. But humans had proven themselves. Humans survived, humans adapted, and humans thrived even when others believed they were weak. Amy approached him. "Captain, the Empire will recover and they will return. Do you think they will attack again?" Luke shook his head slowly. "Yes, they will return, but they will think twice before underestimating humans again. And when they come back, we will be ready. Humans survive, humans adapt, and humans win. That is what makes us strong." Ben looked out the window at the fading Imperial fleet. Captain, today, humans were not just defending, we were teaching. We showed them that fear and size do not determine strength. Strategy, patience, and intelligence do. Luke smiled faintly. Exactly, Ben. And that is the truth the galaxy will remember. Humans do not fight blindly. Humans survive. Humans adapt. Humans win. The fleet continued through space, calm, precise, and alive. Humans had faced the Empire and survived. They had shown their true strength without unnecessary destruction. They had taught a lesson in strategy, patience, and ingenuity that would be remembered across systems for generations. Amy tapped her console. Captain, sensors show that other Imperial forces are observing our movements. They are cautious, unsure of what to do. Our reputation is spreading even now. Luke nodded. Good. Let them see humans as they truly are. Humans survive where others fail. Humans do not fear threats. Humans do not surrender. Humans win. The journey home was quiet but tense. The crew remained alert, aware that the Empire would return, perhaps stronger, but confident that humans were ready. Every system, every shield, every calculation was checked. Humans survived not only through strength but through preparation and intelligence. Ben leaned back, smiling. Captain, I think we have changed the galaxy today. Other species will see humans differently now. We have shown that humans are not weak. We have shown that humans are clever, patient, and unstoppable when united. Luke nodded. Yes, Ben. And this is only the beginning. Humans have always survived the impossible. We have always adapted. And we will always win when the moment is right. That is the truth of humanity. Amy glanced at the stars. Captain, when we return home, people will celebrate. But I think this is bigger than that. Humans have sent a message across the galaxy. Do not underestimate us. Luke smiled. Exactly. Humans survive, humans adapt, and humans win. And sometimes a simple laugh can be stronger than fear or weapons. As the fleet approached their home sector, the crew began minor repairs and system checks. The human ships had endured an empire's full might and come out unbroken. They had proven that strategy, patience, and intelligence were as powerful as firepower. Luke moved through the bridge, quietly watching his crew. Each member had done their part. Each member had been calm, focused, and precise. That was humanity's strength: unity, patience, and courage. Amy spoke softly. Captain, do you think the Empire understands now? Luke shook his head slowly. Not yet. They will learn in time, but humans do not need them to understand immediately. Humans survive first. Humans teach lessons second, and humans win when the moment is right. Ben looked at him. Captain, the galaxy will remember this day. Humans laughed at an empire and survived. That is something no one will forget. Luke nodded. Yes, Ben, and that is how humans are remembered. Not just for fighting, but for surviving, adapting, and teaching the galaxy that strength alone does not decide the outcome. Courage, intelligence, and patience do, and humans have all three in abundance. The fleet moved steadily through space, engines glowing softly, shields strong, systems efficient. The stars stretched endlessly in front of them, but humans were ready for whatever lay beyond. They had survived an empire's threat, taught a lesson without destruction, and sent a message to every species watching. Humans were not weak, humans were clever, and humans could not be underestimated. Luke Carter stood at the window of the bridge, looking at the stars. He knew the Empire would return, but he also knew humans were ready. Humans survived, humans adapted, and humans won. That was the truth of humanity. That was their power. And as the fleet continued home, the crew felt pride, calm, and quiet joy. They had faced the impossible and survived. They had shown the galaxy the truth about humans. They had laughed in the face of a threat, and the galaxy would remember it forever. Humans survived. Humans adapted. Humans won.